Hello. Welcome back to Growing My Grandpa, the lovely game where you got lovely images that will stick with you tonight when you try to go to sleep, like this, and this, and this. That's Grandpa. We're growing Grandpa. I'm gonna end the week. I think I've done everything. I'm pretty sure. And I can unsave if I didn't. I think. Batteries, blueberries, fiberglass, cashews, lettuce, banana, concealed battery, doll, grandpa, glue, blah blah, mom. I got the picture of the mom. That was when I got the key. Then I made grandpa puke, and then I got the key, and then I got the mom picture. Knowledge you acquired is giving you access to new conversation. Language. All right, and that's it. There's nothing else. Okay, good. Good to know. But is this still all make-believe or is this real? Mrs. Richards approached me the other day and ordered a remark on Adrian's development. She noted how much more at ease she appeared when called upon in class or when asked to participate in group exercises. I told her I had seen this change happening as well, and that as much as I would like to take credit for it, I can only guess dimly at what might be reshaping her attitude. Mrs. Richards posited that it was perhaps Adrian's family moving into their grandfather's property that caused the change. It apparently is out in the country, in a wooded area full of wide open space and far from the bustle and noise of the city. Then how is she getting to school? The grandfather, Dr. Jacob Hart, interesting, had jointly purchased the land with the university he was employed with and began constructing what he intended to be a satellite campus for a burgeoning psychological anthropology program he had a hand in establishing. Only one building ever ended up being constructed after Dr. Hart died in a car accident when driving back from the property one day. Yearly, at almost the exact same time, a grad student who was assisting Dr. Hart on some sort of project at the property vanished without a trace. Who'da thunk? The property sat in disuse for years as it was tied up in legal battles between Dr. Hart's next of kin, the university, the vanished grad student's family, and the other students Dr. Hart was working with. Eventually, the case was settled out of court. Only recently did the property fall into the possession of Adrian's mother. Obviously, I was not going to relay this whole tragic story to Adrian, who, for all I know, believes her grandpa to still be living in the basement of his home. Besides, I thought she might already know all of this. Perhaps the elaborate story she was constructing was her own way of escaping the morbid details of a life, or perhaps lives, cut short by cruel fate. The cruel force of fate and the cynical adults who squabbled in the aftermath. I determined perhaps the storytelling she was and continues to engage in should not be encouraged by me, at least not in the way I went about it before, where I made active inquiries into her strange fantasy of a semi-sentient ball of skin. When I saw Adrian, I did not bring up her grandpa or ask questions about his growth. Adrian could not stop talking about it, however. I had no choice but to weather her bizarre and enthusiastic effusions about her new best friend. Adrian, maybe we can talk about something else. I'm not sure I'm following you exactly. He's gotten so big. He has so many whiskers that come out and I can see them move around when I think about him. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm so happy Grandpa is back. He's so much cooler than Mom and Dad. Once again, for what it's worth, I have put down the story she told me as best as I could. Adrian once again told me about growing her grandpa. Great! Everything before is still gone. Yes, it is. Oh, man. That's an ear. Kiwi! Alright. All clean. Good. I still don't have anything to cut this bulbous sack. But I will. Don't you worry about it. I will. Space will not be dirty again until next week. Oh god, not this one. All clean. Okay, not a whole lot, Grandpa. Not a lot going on here. Something about that painting looks strange. Yeah, you right. Yeah, you right. Potato! That's nice. Ooh. Life. Good. Indecision. That's a big word for Grandpa. I don't know if Grandpa's gonna be able to do that. All clean. Bulbous growth. Oh, good. Another bulbous. Nice. I don't know who's putting stuff in the fridge, but these are awfully nice. Okay. Alright, potato. already, and there really wasn't anything there. Oh, good! Bulbous growth, your time has come! Get ready to die, bulbos. You make the incision within the growth with your scissors. Great, it's now possible to look inside. Peer inside the small opening. In the oily cavity, a powerful smell of rot arises, and many small increate beings lay motionless and dead. However, you just barely hear something near silent slithering or something. Or maybe it's just your imagination. Oh, good. Oh, no. It's left to crawl around the basement. Grandpa may enjoy the flesh. I don't know if I should do that. Is that a face? Is that a face? How many faces do you see? Lexi and run a poll, or Marcus, Rachel, everyone chip in here. Little friends! Little friend! Yay! Woohoo! Alright. Bulbous growth. It's not my imagination, that's for sure. Oh, there it is. Anthropoid remnant too. Okay, good. So I'm Paw. And Grandpa's gonna like it. It said that Grandpa needed a kiwi fruit. I happen to have a kiwi. And it's a good thing I didn't put that on a piece. So from now on, I'm gonna observe Grandpa first so I know the needs before I do anything stupid. Kiwi. You'll like it. There you go. How would you like an anthropoid? And his cilia wave in a frenzy. There you go. I'm sure that's good. I'm sure no one's gonna be upset about that. The meal appears to have been particularly well received. Your offering of flesh stirs something within Grandpa. From within the fold of its body, a wiry proboscis-like appendage begins to emerge. It may be worth taking a look at this after the feeding. Knowledge you have gained. Proboscis! Aha! Great! Good! Okay. Language. Still struggles to somewhat to speak due to its underdeveloped tongue, mouth, and jaw. However, it managed to rasp out an answer. Grandpa is old. My lives were easier before I made myself to speak and before you made clothes to wear and rules to obey. Your grandpa remembers. I've learned much in many lives and death, talking with you and learning from you, and it helps your grandpa so much. Soon I will be everything you would like me to be. Little friends. Grandpa still struggles somewhat to speak due to its underdeveloped tongue. The little ones, they grew like seeds off my skin. Worms fall off my body. Thoughts falling off of me. Dreams put there by others. When I was under the ground, I made only very few. Shepherds walked through the grave, and I saw them lusting for their wives, and my skin made their loving faces. What? What? I called them out into the darkness with their loved voices. One by one, I took their shapes and their skin and blood. What? Okay, what about your proboscis? What about it? Yes, that is a part like a tongue. I was lost in the mountains and so thirsty. I was walking up a hill and found a lamb and drank from it with my tongue, and I fell asleep for a long time. I woke up as a half-formed child. I had died before. My grieving mother had remade me. We had made a contract and she completed it. I do not remember more. Bye-bye! Let's learn some language. Life, 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 life! Deep within Grandpa's strange membranes, phonate Sure! It's close enough! Oh, At week 3 of Growth 24, Whiskers appeared to recall some information from a previous growth cycle. We cannot be sure that this was really the case. For all we know, what we interpreted as it recollecting this information was really it drawing semantic context from one of our recollections of it and redeploying it without rationality or contextualization. For the sake of our safety and for the sake of scientific inquiry, we are attempting to draw out from Whiskers whether it somehow retains knowledge from previous cycles in its morphologic nucleus. We did not think it was possible the nucleus, though complex and incredible in its regenerative abilities, was capable of this, and that the nerve network that grew from it made up the base of Whiskers' mind. And so we are now attempting to ask Whiskers, as best we can, if it ever died, or what it might remember if it did. Great. Grandpa's proboscis is out! Good. Grandpa, put your proboscis away! Grandpa, if you could put your proboscis back,
Hello, guys.
that'd be good. Examine pride on what? I'm gonna teach Grandpa some words and the topics of clothing and decency. We're doing it, Grandpa. We're doing it. We're doing it, Grandpa. We're doing it. You're doing it. Proud of you. Ooh, that's good. We are introducing the latest growth of Whiskers to more subtle social cues and testing its ability to judge mental states of participants in conversation. The semantic content that flows to Whiskers via its psi field is still becoming muddled and slipped without distinction into conversation, although our intention of instilling in it a solid theory of mind will perhaps make it begin to understand that we do not know what it knows, or know what we are sending it. One would think a theory of mind seems to develop as part of its maturing process. In order to hunt sapient beings, it must be able to deceive them. In order to deceive it, it must be able to make certain metacognitive judgments. For example, if their deception appears to be working, or how one ought to be deceived. We may never see it develop a theory of mind anytime soon, as Dr. Hart has disallowed a cycle of Whiskers' growth to live into the beginnings of maturity. Probably for the best. I'm gonna say that's a good idea. Grandpa, your proboscis is still out. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Now my question is, should I feed it the other little dude now or save it until next week? Because honestly, we should probably ration these things out. But then again, oh, I know, I do still have some of the stuff that I had from last time. Like this lettuce is still from last time, technically speaking. It would be greedy to give it all here. All right, I'm gonna look at your proboscis, Grampy. I'm not happy about it. You motion to Grandpa to approach and point to the thin protuberance. Grandpa Silent fully extends it towards you. A minuscule needle extends from its tip. There appears to be one more thing you must give, if only for the sake of propriety. And what's that? What is that? Glue? You want some glue? Oh boy, that was a bad idea, wasn't it? Grandpa has appreciated your blood offering. It will receive a symbol or totem from you now, although only one per offering. What? As the blood-fed proboscis retracts back into the folds of fabric, you step away from the bars. I'm not happy that I did that. I'm not happy that I did that at all. I am really upset that that occurred. Grandpa, please put your proboscis away. What is a totem? What do you mean by a totem? Do you mean mom, doll? Is that what you mean? This what you're talking about? Grampy? I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know why I'm doing it. Offer mother doll, here you go! Oh, hold out the mother symbol you created. Great. Grandpa's spines quickly reach out and envelop the doll before drawing back. The doll quickly vanishes within the fold of Grandpa's skin. Constructing and then offering your mother's image to Grandpa, symbolically sated by blood, instills in you a concrete sense of completion. Grandpa gives a soft affirming grunt as it senses deep within your mind the ritual transformation of your desire. Although Grandpa must receive both a mother and father totem before the fulfillment of your wish is assured. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So what I'm gonna do, if I had to think about this super rationally, is I gotta save some of this good stuff. I gotta save the good stuff for next time. Because the only thing that I have here left over is that place I can't see, and all of this is done. Oh, no way. Wait, no. Is it an unlimited amount? You said that I thought this was done for. That's what I thought. Okay, that's what I thought. I just was able to clear him out again because, you know, that's how it is. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna feed Grandpa again, but I'm not gonna feed the food. I'll feed the strawberry. Neutral. What about the pear? Lettuce. Lettuce. Alright, good. All fed up. Okay, all good, thank you. Yep. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Good week. Week 4. Yeah! The time I have spent compiling an evaluation of Adrian is almost up, and I still can't say what to make of her changes in mood. It is, of course, a case of children of Adrian's age are nowhere near finished learning and growing. I may have to simply be happy that Adrian was able to improve her attitude. However, something in the odd and occasionally grotesque stories she continues to bring up and still strike me as meaningful. How was your week been, Adrian? Grandpa is almost ready. He's almost finished. Well, sort of. Ah, he's almost as big as his shell now. He has a face, and he can talk pretty well and almost has legs. I see. As before, I have put down the story she told me as best I could. Once again, Adrian told me about growing her grandpa. I sure did. Let me check on Grandpa first. Hey! How you doing? Oh. Oh no. You examine Grandpa. Grandpa seems fatigued and almost anemic. Some of its spines appear brittle. Perhaps it would be more cooperative if fed a rich, iron-rich meal like meat. Alright, meat it is. You got it. I'm on it. Don't you worry about a thing. Kitchen. We got an apple. That's good. We got, jackfruit. That sounds pretty good. Alright, let's see what else is here. Everything from before is gone. I'm sure it is. Hey, bar of soap. Nice. Hi. Nope, no more here. I think it might be good that I saved it. a feeling anyway. Meaning. Good. Oh, bulbous growth! Oh, good! Oh, bulbous growth! Oh, good. Bulbous growth. Oh, good. Oh, there it is. Okay, thank you. Got it. Anthropoid 3. Do I need 3? Hey, flatbread! Getting a lot of food here. Something tells me maybe I shouldn't have ever fed it, like, things, like meat things or the little meat dudes, but it said no animal meat. Maybe this is fine though. I'm thinking this might be fine. How else would I have gotten the proboscis? Oh, mushroom. Oh, the gourmand grind. I did it. Symbol. Great. Okay, alright, Grampy. I got everything, I think. I think I do. I'm just gonna save. I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna prepare you. Ooh, you're gonna get a parrot and a bar of soap. Bam. Conceal. There we go. This is, how long is it? How is this gonna, Ooh, don't be standing, please. Oh, God, no. Hi. Yep, okay. Grandpa, stomach contents. Oh, good. That was in Grandpa. Yee-hee-hee-hee, saving game, yee-hee-hoo-hee. Oh, look at this! Oh, man, great stuff. Simple paper doll. Wow, classics of alchemy. On the virtue of the prudent when dealing with devils. These splendors and terrors of God's creation inhabit the world of both seen and unseen. And just as one will not grapple with the lie unless they be a fool, one will not approach a being of a mind or aether without foreknowledge thereof. I don't know what any of this means. But there are still more beings which straddle the realms, is only by God's grace and his angels serve crushing these beings under heel magic. As I see interested to devour them, being in their nature. By God's grace, devil is part of a contract, only requires a token of these givings, that is a symbol. If a devil hungers after flesh and would strip a man to his bones in the devouring, the devil's hunger and nature which thirst for flesh can be held in. The devil once abjured to do no harm upon the magician will return to its devouring nature. Hello. Oh! Young photo of your father as a young man. He was a goddamn hippie? He was a goddamn hippie? Is that what you're telling me? Fine. Well, I glued those together, and now it's time to feed Grandpa some more so his protuberance, you know, that whole deal, his proboscis. Hey, Grandpa, you're real tall, Grampy. Grandpa, you're real tall, and I don't like it. How about an anthropoid? There you go. There it is, it's proboscis. Good. So it was right to ration the... Content and ready to cooperate. Examining proboscis. Oh boy. Ow. Okay, you want the father doll? You like the father doll, little birdie? You like the doll? Soft affirming grunt. Thanks. Completed contract! That sounds good, maybe. Eee. Oh boy. Though still not fully formed is revealed. Oh no! What if can it talk more about these? Ah, you're asking me about your wish. Oh, good. When you wished for me to come back, that's when I knew I would. Your desperation was strong, and your wish for your parents, well, if you give me what I want, I'll give you what you want. You know I love you. I am for you whatever you want, and I love you just as much as you love me. But desperation and love is not enough. People deep down know they can't get what they wish for without some transformation. There is something that sits at the root of everyone's soul that understands the separation between them and eternity. You may desire something, but you know you will not get it without some movement on your part. So it is not enough to just wish, which you know will not work. You must wish in a little more to transform your intention into something that might fructify, or for desire to become reality. Your language is good. Shell? Ah, you're asking me about my shell. Oh, well, you see, I like to have something to grow in, something shaped like a person. It just helps to have something surrounding me when I don't have skin. My whiskers do the growing. My whiskers? Yes, you know, the hairy little things. I am a part of it, and it is a part of me. However, my whiskers are what heard you wishing for me to come back, and so they went to work in the shell you provided. The shell also helps you envision me as what you desire. You have such a nice imagination. If I weren't in my shell, you'd have my whiskers exposed and knitting together my face. That might interrupt the feedback loop of my reading your desires. And then acting upon the desires I have read, and then once again reading your reaction. We wouldn't want that interfered with. The material of the doll you put down is good fit. It is not the most comfortable, but is quite flexible, and thankfully, my shell was able to adjust nicely to my growth. Biohazard bin. Ah, you're asking about the medical waste bin. I believe it's locked up. I heard them punch it in code many times as they placed part of burnt up dying self into the bin. They often forgot what the code was and had to go check on the wall. I already know it. Okay, I remember seeing a man that looked quite like me. His daughter had given him a photo of her new boyfriend. He threw it into the bin in disgust. Ah, I know it's there. I already know. Language, the more you taught me, the more I was able to learn myself by hearing what you were thinking and saying. A week ago I could speak a little bit, but I was less of what you imagined me to be, and not quite the talker I am at the moment. Part of what I'm saying is of course made up of what you expect me to say. I think I'm very comfortable with being open and honest with you because I am your grandpa and I love you, and certainly that makes a part of what I am. However, there's a part deeper down, the thing that created me, baby, that undying nucleus. It is answering for me as well and is unaffected by whoever might shape what I become with their thoughts. Great. Little friends, well, yes, they come from me. Think of them like dreams. Have you ever had a dream that was sort of like a bunch of people, places, and events you experienced, all mixed up and jumbled up? Sort of sorting through and disposing of the refuse of the mind. My little friends are like that. Refuse, and in ridding myself of them, I am casting off the excess material I did not use in developing life forms. Anyone who comes close to me, well, they are my eyes, my nose, my skin. Their thoughts become mine and shape what I make. However, when I was alone for so long, I didn't have a lot of people near me. What are you thinking and expecting of me is shaping what I'm saying, how I'm saying it. Do you understand? And so, because I did not have enough input from my surroundings in order to put the material to use, the material falls off my body, crawls away, and usually dies. I am able to make the most of my material when someone is looking right at me, projecting who I will be, like you are now. What you are thinking and expecting of me is shaping what I'm saying, how I'm saying it. Do you understand? I do, but I don't. Oh, my proboscis, a little tube I keep to help feed me on blood. You could say it's my real mouth, but it's not really a mouth. It only appeared because you fed me flesh. One of those little friends you found, I think. You feeding me flesh was a symbol, a proposition, if you will, that you wanted to hold up your end of the bargain with regards to your wish. If someone is willing to hold up their end of the bargain and let me feed on them with my proboscis, then they can move on to the next step of the agreement, providing me symbolic instructions. I hope that clears up things. Oh, do you have another question? Do I like the blood? Well, my whiskers, I believe they like the blood and the flesh. It's strange. They are me, and yet they are, I'm guessing that should be not me. I am bound to them. They control me, and technically, yes, they did make me. However, you were the one who really grew me. In some ways, those whiskers, they are me, or a part of myself, or I am a part of it. That part is much more animal-like. Whatever might happen, no, I will always love you, and because it controls me, I might not be able to act how I would like, even if I do love you. Oh, well, that is not good.
Completed contracts.
Thank you so much for completing the contract. I'll definitely help you out with your parents. Just give me a little time and I'll be ready to act. I think you'll be very happy. Your grandpa is very happy too. You did it all by yourself, you know. I couldn't have helped you if I tried. I would have really not have liked to, well, I did not want you to not complete the contract. I would have hated that. But do you understand why I would have had to? Maybe you don't. So much of your lives are made up, and yet what comes to pass was always once a fiction. You doubt yourself and your plans even before they begin. And you believe what is in front of you as if the essence of things was not something you put there long ago. Too much doubt can suffocate even the surest thing. Only with patience and growth and nurturing does something become what it will be, as you soon shall see. Okay. Yep. Let's learn meaning! Me, mama, me, yeah, me, yeah, me, and you got it. We further delve into the abstraction with Whiskers, partially, or perhaps for the most part, for the purpose of determining the origin of its recollection that preceded its death. Dr. Hart has begun to theorize that in the process of death, the structure of Whiskers is compressed back into the morpholactic nucleus, and then later, upon re-establishing the nerve netting that is laced through its spines, is slowly reassembled and deployed as needed. I do not think this is the case. For I can plainly see that for the growth cycles in which Whiskers is not receiving our pronunciation and vocabulary lessons, that its capacity general for comprehending its environment is greatly diminished. And in the simulated conversations we carry out, Whiskers struggles greatly, or else does not participate. In any case, we will press on with our lessons, and heed Dr. Hart's caution regarding terminating the growth cycle before Whiskers' allotted growth time passes, or if it appears to be becoming just a little too competent at appearing human. I agree. Kind of, I think. I don't know. It seems like what you did might have gotten y'all killed, so I don't know. I don't know. Good. There appears to be nothing written here. If there was, it was thoroughly erased. Well, can't help that. Well, it's time to feed Grampy Gramps and then, yep. Let me just see which one I need to save the apple, so don't feed the apple. Got it. Okay. Just in case. Hi, Grampy. You can sit down. You look like that Resident Evil thing. That is definitely. There we go. You kill me. Definitely. Okay, so strawberry. Palette. Flatbread. Okay, we're all good here. We're all good. Let's end the week. Yep. I feel good about what I did. Yep. Subordination of hidden being. Yep. Blah, blah, blah. Yep. Okay. I met with Adrian one final time in order to see if I could not reach some sort of resolution regarding her emotional trouble. In these past few weeks, according to the reports of her teachers and peers, she has shown a remarkable transformation in conduct. I would also add my voice to this consensus. It seems as if our time together much has changed for the better. I'm not suggesting our meetings were the sole source of her sea change. I think something has happened in her home life that has reoriented Adrian completely. She seems to suggest as much, at least in her usual esoteric way, when last we spoke. Something tells me something may have changed with Grandpa. Yes, well, something did change. I will write down her words verbatim here. I went down the stairs like I always did, but I sort of felt like something was different. My parents weren't arguing, and I felt that something had changed with Grandpa. There was a weird noise, but I wasn't afraid. Grandpa? Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh! I think my grandpa had to leave, but before he left, he made my parents nice. He reached inside and changed them. That was my wish. Maybe even what I was growing wasn't really my grandpa. Grandpa left what I was growing behind. He's gone now. He moved quickly out to I don't know where, but I'll always love him. I dismissed Adrian soon after, letting her know it was a pleasure getting to know her. Despite my apprehensiveness about the speed of the turnaround she has made, I cannot see any reason why Adrian should be considered for further evaluation. And as a counselor for Adrian, let it be known I believe she is of sound mental and emotional health. I am pleased to see things have turned out this way, and if I may make a brief addendum. By happenstance, Mrs. Richardson bumped into the Hart family the other day while running an errand. She told me the parents were a little odd, but very pleasant, and quite clearly they adored their child. And that she had never seen Adrian happier. There are two endings in Growing My Grandpa. Development of Patreon. James! I don't think I did a good thing. I think I did a bad thing. Well, that was Growing My Grandpa. I'm pretty sure that was bad, and I'm pretty sure the other ending is probably an ending of death. And but I'm sure it's all bad. That's the thing about cosmic body horror, is that it's usually all bad. So thank you, James, for making Growing My Grandpa. I enjoyed this very much so. I'm kind of curious of where Discover Our Bodies is, because if I remember Discover My Body, that was many years ago. Not that this wasn't great. I just hope that game's coming out because I'm very excited for it. All this crazy body horror stuff is great. I love it. It's disturbing. It makes me extremely uncomfortable. But thank you. Also, there's a link in the description if you want to cheer up after this one. I'll listen to a round of Distractable. It's right there in the description below. Me, Bob, and Wade having a good time. Also, check out Raft. We started that back up, and we'll be doing more very soon. Thank you. A farewell. See you in the next one.
This video contains an ad for Boxu. More about them later. Okay guys, Shadow Bayetta, by the way. About 3 years ago, I made this castle using about 2,500 bricks. And you know, it sounds like a lot, right? But what about 25,000 or 30,000 or 50,000 bricks? That might be a little much, but you get my drift. What if we just scale it up a lot, make a giant castle? I am equal parts terrified and excited. But you know, it couldn't have been that bad, right? There's probably a whole section in hell where they only sit and glue bricks to castles. Right? I've actually already started working a bit on the project. So here we have the base. It's freaking huge. And it's made out of XPS foam cut in 3 layers. So I've just used my box knife to kind of carve it out. And over here, we have some of these things, which is just plaster cast in these aluminum foil things that I've just crinkled up. And this is gonna make some rock surfaces that we can glue onto the base. Step 1, smash. Step 2, glue. Step 3, river. Step 4, acetone. Step 5, sculpt the mold. That's it, it's finished. Bye. No, I'm kidding. We're finished with the boring part of the project. Well, not directly boring, well, yes, a little boring, I have to admit. So now we have a nice base with a river path going here, a little hill in the middle, and the castle is obviously gonna sit on this hill. First of all, we have to make the base for the castle, because I could glue 1 and 1 brick on top of each other and like make the architecture that way, but oh my lord, no. There's limits to the amount of work I want to do, and it's gonna be enough just gluing it to a wall. So we're gonna make the walls out of cardboard because we have a lot of trash. We're gonna use that as our base, and then we can glue the bricks onto that later. oh my god, it's so huge. But it looks so good. Jesus Christ. I mean, it's so much better than I imagined in my head with the spires and the windows. Oh my god, it's gonna take forever to glue bricks to this. Which is also why they're kind of like narrow at the top here, and the towers are also kind of narrow because we're gonna glue bricks to this, so it's gonna be way chunkier. But yeah, we have the cardboard base, so now we can start cutting all the bricks, which is gonna be fun, don't worry. I got a little like brick cutting station here. I got my hot wire foam cutter and an extraction tube to get the fumes out, because it fumes and it stinks and it's awful. So this is just to get that out of the way. And I'm gonna use some XPS foam to make my bricks. It's just a really nice dense blue foam. And we're gonna cut so many bricks. And if I remember correctly, it wasn't really the brick cutting that was awful, it was the gluing the bricks that was not the most fun. So I'm gonna enjoy this while I can. Let's cut some bricks. I've just cut about 2,500 bricks. I know it doesn't look like it, but I counted all the strips and then I know how many bricks I get from one strip, and it's pretty easy to calculate how many you get. It was fairly quick cutting this many, but we have like 20,000 more to go, so we just gotta keep going. Okay, so here we have, I've never seen so many bricks in my entire life. Just looking at these boxes, I would never have guessed that these are 24,000, but I've counted, so I'm pretty sure it's at least around that. But now comes the part that I've been dreading the most, which is gluing all of these bricks to the castle. The last time I did this, I had possibly the least efficient way of gluing bricks to anything ever, which was just, you know, hot glue. Single brick. Hot glue. Single brick. I can feel my soul wither away. So I'm basically just gonna use hot glue to glue one line of bricks down here, just so I can stack other bricks on top here using Mod Podge instead. Because then I can just like put a layer of glue, stack a layer, put a layer, stack a layer, and do it hopefully way faster than what I did in the past. We already have 2 down, so number 3, let's go. It's taken me pretty much exactly 2 hours covering this up, so it's not too bad. We just gotta keep moving and hopefully we'll be done with this wall pretty quick. I'm just now starting to realize why I haven't done this in so long, because it is taking forever to glue all of these bricks on. I mean, I'm now done with 3 of the walls completely, both the inside and outside, and I have 1 more wall left, just the inside. It's exhausting for my back to like stand and bend over to try to reach the inside of the castle, and it's really straining for the hands to just separate the bricks and glue them on, like more than you'd think. Both Hansi and I have been working on this for, I think, 3 full days just gluing the bricks, and we managed to do almost all the walls except for the towers and the first floor of the main building. So we still have like 2 more floors as well as the giant towers and these towers left. So yeah, it's taking a lot of time. Oh, and by the way, last time a lot of people told me to use these brick texture rollers, but the thing about them is you don't get this nice individual brick look. Like, it's different, okay? I prefer this look and I'm gonna suffer for it, so shut up.
So you want to know how to build an infinite food farm, whether that be for a stable food source or to feed your villager breeding habits, you've come to the right place. I just want to quickly say before we get to the main bulk of the video, if you everything reader only need everything that's here on and then fill the rest in. You want to play, you can see this is the 9x9, and the composter and become a farmer. And once all these carrots are grown, they will start harvesting them. And then once their inventory is full of carrots, which you can do manually by yourself if you want, you can give the villager 8 stacks of carrots, and that will actually fill up its inventory. And then once its inventory is full, any more carrots that it harvests, then the hopper minecart underneath will pick. Essentially,
Hello everyone, my name is Bash and welcome to another Minecraft tutorial. Today's farm is featuring yet again another wonderful Logical Geek Boy invention, the fully automatic carrot and potato farm. We'll attempt to start hopper by 11 blocks. Your count any hoe will do. Go ahead and pause the video if you guys this farm for by placing this like this dirt on look like this and place a 3 tall wall. The center of your rapid in once your farm looks. Both sides are done. All of the dirt in both farms. Now that your crops are planted, they can begin growing. Next, go to the center of the 2 farms and build up the back wall and the 2 front sides by 2 more blocks like this. Place fence posts in these positions above the hoppers and place trapdoors at the top of the block above the fence posts so that it looks just like this, and then patch in the front area with more blocks like so. This is the point where you're going to bring in your villagers, so go ahead and place one in that chamber on that block, one in this farm, and one in this farm, of course. They're going to get their jobs as a farmer from the composter, and now you can go ahead and cap the center villager up with a roof like this. Believe it or not, that is the farm completely finished. It was super quick, super easy, but these guys are eventually going to harvest their fields and collect carrots and potatoes automatically without you having to do a single thing other than open that chest and take your loot. This farm is also tileable in the upward direction, meaning you can make multiple farms feeding into the same set of chests over there. All you would have to do is build a hopper. per column going.
Just a quick little update on how I'm covering the corners of the buildings. I tried one method where I cut out individual bricks and kind of stacked them like this, and it looks really cool, but oh my god, it's taking forever. And on the other side here, Hansi came up with a different method where we kind of just cut one long strip and cut that into longer like stones. This method is taking like an eighth of the time of that one, and to be honest, I think it looks equally good. So I'm gonna go with the fast method on this one. So I'm just gonna finish up the rest of the corners and then we can do the final detailing on the wall. Well, I guess I'll see you in hell. Okay, so I thought it could be kind of funny to compare the old castle to the new. Just look how freaking huge this is! Like 35,000 bricks, 2,500 bricks. My god, and I remember so well how I thought this was just the biggest, craziest project I had ever done, and it was at the time, but I mean... And yes, we had to make a lot more bricks, so it's around 35,000. And it's just crazy to think about how this part of the wall alone is about the same amount of bricks as this entire castle. And I think it's kind of funny that we have about the same composition here as well. Like, we have a river, the bridge, river, bridge, tower, spires, but it's just way overdone. If you just grab some aluminum foil, right? Just rip off a piece and then crinkle it into a little ball. You can just use this and just roll it on the bricks. And you'll get a really nice texture from this. This is gonna take a while, so let's just roll a time lapse. We're done with the texturing, and now I'm gonna cover everything in this mix of Mod Podge acrylic paint and water, just to act as the base for the paint and make it a bit more sturdy. Now, before we move on, it's time for an ad for Boxu. If you haven't heard about them before, Boxu is a monthly subscription service. And find more about the socks now. This and it's rock, and the main castle in the middle here isn't finished yet. Hansi is still working on some of the beams and the windows and stuff, just the last details. And once that is finished, we're gonna paint that as well. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna finish working on the base. So I'm gonna cover this with paint, try to make it look like rock, and then we can cast the river in some epoxy resin in the front here. Hansi just finished assembling all of this. So this is our main castle that is going inside the walls here. It's now covered in Mod Podge and everything, so it's ready to be painted. It's still missing some details like the roof shingles and some details on the doors here, but we're gonna deal with those once we finish painting the bricks. So to figure out how I'm gonna paint this, I've studied some different kinds of rock and I've kind of landed on white quartz as my reference because it's just this gorgeous white kind of shimmery rock that I just think a whole castle with that rock would look amazing. And the thing is, if you study it closely, you can see that it has all these undertones of yellows and oranges, but also some like pink and purplish colors. So I want to try to catch all of those undertones in the paint job. I'm just gonna mix up some of these undertone shades and water it down by a lot so we can kind of use them as washes around the castle and basically paint the same way we did with the ground by applying some more washes and some dry brushing on top to sort of bring it all together. Let's paint! Trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. Look at it! All of it! I think it looks really good, although it's not exactly what I was going for. It kind of ended up looking like a light gray kind of rock instead of white. I think where it went wrong was all the way in the beginning when I put a light gray coat as the base coat, because it was kind of hard to bring the white back in, so I think it would have been better if I put a white base coat on first. That's something to consider for later. But overall, I'm really happy with how it's looking so far. Now we can finally start working on all the grass and all the foliage and stuff that is going around the castle. To apply the grass, we have a super fancy and very weird tool. It's called a static grass applicator. We've had a lot of questions about this because it's really weird. So it looks like this, where you screw off the cap here and you can put some grass, like this sort of grass, in here. On the other end here, you connect it to a little pin. So you apply some glue to where you want the grass, you stick the pin in the grass, and that conducts electricity, and then you turn this thing on, upside down, shake it, and you get grass that stands. It's basically like sorcery. It's a wand, a grass wand. But yeah, it's a super fancy tool that gives a really realistic effect compared to just like spreading it on with your hands because it doesn't stand upright. That's basically what we're gonna do now. Put the glue, put the grass, shake it like crazy, and then magic. Oh my god, it looks so much better with the grass on. Holy crap. And like, we're getting so close to the end. We only have making the roofs, painting the roofs, and then adding some trees and foliage left. Oh, it's finally time for the final assembly. Let's go! Woo! this day would come, but finally it's done. Holy crap, it looks so much better than the old one. Like, no hate on the old one, but I'm super happy with the paint job and just the composition and everything. And just before, after. We have spent way too much time on this. We were planning to spend 2 weeks originally. It has now been over a month. I don't know how I thought I could spend only 2 weeks making a castle of 35,000 bricks. It's my forever optimism. But holy crap, it's finally finished and I'm so happy with it. And yeah, I just wanted to thank you so much for sticking with us and watching our videos, because you guys' support means the world to us. I mean, especially now that we don't post so often and we make giant stuff like this. And of course, a giant thanks to our patrons for continuing to support us, because you guys' support makes it possible for us to even spend this much time on a project when we have to and we want to make it good. Final thoughts, don't make a castle with 35,000 bricks. Save yourself your sanity and just get a texture roller. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and now it's finally time. Let's have a look at the final results! This video is an ad for Dying Light 2. Shadowbayada, it's me, Martina. Now, listen, we do this stuff on this channel. You know, fantasy is an amazing aesthetic, arguably the best. But another great one is post-apocalyptic stuff. And I've always wanted to make a post-apocalyptic city, like an actual abandoned city full of broken buildings and broken down cars, everything covered in dirt and debris, and just make it look like nature is starting to take over again. But I've never really dared to begin because it just seems like such a daunting task to even start. However, we got a sponsor! And guess what they wanted? Yeah, Dying Light 2 want us to make an actual abandoned city from their new game. And I guess now that we're actually getting paid to do this, I have run out of excuses not to. This is still super scary. I'm a bit nervous that I'm not gonna be able to do the game justice, but I'm gonna try my very best. That's actually all I need for now. I might have gone a little overboard with the shopping. At least we have plenty of foam for future projects. So here's what we're gonna use as the base that we're gonna build everything on top of. This acrylic sheet is going at the very bottom. It's mainly there for structural integrity and also making it easier to slide around. And then a layer of this XPS foam on top to make it easier to attach the buildings and everything else to the base. So first of all, let's clean this with some alcohol just to make sure that the glue will actually stick to it. And now let's apply some PVA glue. Smack them together. And add some weights on top while it dries. There we go, a nice solid base. This is where the fun begins because now we can actually start, building. So we found this really cool wallpaper from the game and I need to recreate this. So we're gonna try to make all the buildings on either side here, plus the road going down the middle. And to build it, we're gonna use some cereal boxes because, they kind of look like high-rise buildings. Let's first of all try to make something that looks like a city and then we can build on top of that. We got all the cardboard buildings down, so next I'm gonna cover everything in some 5mm XPS foam just to make it look a bit nicer and make it easier to texture. Oh my god, covering up these cardboard boxes in XPS foam has taken me way longer than I would ever imagine it to take. I'm just now starting to realize the scope of this project is probably slightly bigger than what I initially thought. Hansi is gonna start working on the 2 huge domes that are going on top here, and in the meantime we're gonna start working on some details on these buildings because right now they're just gray, boring blobs. We need stuff like windows and railings and pipes and basically everything that makes these buildings city buildings. I got a bunch of different materials to start making the details here. So I have all kinds of wooden sticks of different sizes and shapes. I got these really cheap at the crafting store and I'm really just gonna try to find whatever is nice to use for beams and some edges for the buildings, things around the windows, all kinds of structural things that are gonna add detail here. All we need now is some hot glue and we can start putting on all of these wooden things.
Hey guys! So while Martina is working on the main architecture for this project, which is, well, basically most of it, I'm also gonna help a little bit and I'm gonna make the domes that are very visible in the back of this project. You can see in the reference image. And I do think they add a lot of personality and character to this city. So when I began, I didn't actually know how I was supposed to make them, but I ended up using Blender, which I am really bad at, but it didn't turn out so bad. I have already 3D printed them using our normal FDM printers, and yeah, I'm pretty happy. So what I'm gonna do now is to finish these. And since these are FDM prints, you have these very visible layers. wouldn't have if I used the resin printers, but these are a bit too big for that. So now I'm gonna use something I've never used before, which is like epoxy resin top coating called XTC 3D, and yeah, it's supposed to make 3D prints smooth. Never used it before, so let's see if this is a whole waste of time or if it's actually a great product. So I have applied the resin, and so far it is looking really good. But we don't really know yet because it has to cure for about 4 hours. So I'll be back with the result, and then we can also do the paint job.
Oh my god, these buildings are starting to look so good. I mean, all the detail here is just really starting to make this look like structures. Next, we're gonna start adding some windows and some railings and some pipes on the outside of the buildings here. And I've already created the designs for the windows and railings in Photoshop, and I've used our laser cutter to cut them out. And I know most of you probably don't have access to fancy tools like laser cutters and stuff, but I think if I were to make this by hand, I would use something like matchsticks or something to make the railings. We've done that in the past and it works pretty well. And for the windows, I think I would just simplify the designs a bit and use an X-Acto knife to cut them out, or just make a little smaller project, because this is, you know, pretty big. Here are the windows and the railings, and it's actually pretty simple. I just cut out 2 layers of this, glue them together to give it some depth, and we have some window frames that also 2 layers, and together 4 layers. Oh, I just think all these layers are gonna help create more depth and more detail on the building here. And on the back of the windows, I just attached some foil cones. It's meant for baking, but you know, it's just a clear plastic sheet. So I just glued it to the back so we have some reflection in the glass. And finally, we have the railings. Fairly simple design, but enough to make it fancy-ish. I guess I just have to start cutting holes in the buildings, which is a little terrifying because if I cut it wrong, you know, I can't really fix it. But we just have to do it. So much better than I thought. Like, I've always been super intimidated by making buildings because you have to construct things and things have to be straight, and it's not like making nature when you can just make organic stuff and it looks good. I mean, there are some things here that are a little bit crooked, but I think overall they just look really good. And I think the windows here and the railings just added so much to this. And I also added some like clear glass down at ground level. And I just used some old like plastic boxes we had lying around and just broke it apart to make these windows. Now everything is Mod Podge, so everything is primed and ready for painting. We have just so much left to do. Like, we gotta paint the buildings, we gotta make the road, we gotta make a bunch of miniatures and paint them, and Hansi is gonna make the domes and also some cool light effects, and it's a lot. But we just have to work fast, and I really think we can do this, so let's get painted. mentioned at the beginning of this video, this diorama is based on Dying Light 2, which is an open-world action role-playing game where you're set to survive in a zombie apocalypse. You have to navigate through a beautiful but dangerous world of monsters and humans, using parkour skills, clever thinking, traps, and creative weapons. You can explore the vast world and the city, discovering different paths and hidden passages, but be careful at night, because that's when the monsters come out to hunt. Or use it to your advantage and try to explore the infected's lairs. Your actions and choices through the game will impact how the story unravels. And what's pretty cool is you can play co-op with your friends, and you can see how their choices has impacted their world compared to yours. Dying Light 2 is actually out now on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, so if you think this sounds interesting, then make sure to check out the link down below. And back to the project. The paint job on the buildings is finished, well, except for the roof. We're gonna do that later. I think it turned out pretty good. Like, it's gonna be a fairly basic concrete building, so it's a fairly basic color. But I really think that concrete paint we used at the beginning added a lot, because the whole building just has this really nice texture that really came forward when I highlighted everything. And I think the rust effects here on the railings and the doors really just add that little bit of So now that we have the buildings, we can start working on all the details as well as the base that this is gonna be put on top of. So to add more detail in here, we decided to go to the local railway modeling store and we picked up these building kits. So we got like a staircase, some trash cans, and all of these have to be put together. So Hansi has been spending a lot of time doing just that. Now they're all ready to be painted, but I realize I'm not going to be able to paint all of this by myself. So I kindly asked my friend Arilla if she wanted to come over and help me paint some of these, and she kindly agreed. Thank you so much. So while she's working on that, I'm going to start working on the asphalt road that is going between all of these buildings. So Hansi had a great idea for how we can try to make the asphalt road. So we got this cork mat. The cool thing about it is it has this funky texture that kind of resembles asphalt. But when you break it, it also gets these very natural looking cracks, so we can make the asphalt kind of look old and worn. And so I'm planning to put this in the middle here to make the street. And then I'm gonna put some concrete paint on top and try to do a paint job that makes it look like old and worn asphalt. I haven't actually used this method before. I haven't seen anyone else use it, but I think it could work. So let's test it out and see how it goes. First of all, I'm just gonna carve out this part in the middle so we can lower the cork a little bit. Oh, that's a horrible sound. I think that should be deep enough, so let's just cut a strip of this to fit in here. I got this strip here, so now I'm gonna try to make some cracks in this, and in as much of a controlled manner as possible, because this breaks very, very easily. But I really want those natural cracks in the asphalt. And now we can glue it in place, just using some hot glue. I gotta say, it looks pretty promising. So next I'm just gonna fix the sidewalks here by making them look like concrete squares. Just gonna cut it with a knife and a pencil, and then we can apply some concrete paint and do the paint job. The next detail I'm gonna make is just some newspapers. So I printed out this sheet with newspapers made to the right size. So now I'm just gonna stain them with some coffee and then cut them out.
So it's been a little while since we put the epoxy on the domes, and if you're like me, you are super excited to know the results. And let me tell you, they are looking really good. I am very excited to see how well this worked. We are gonna paint these domes in kind of an oxidized bronze thing, but I'm not sure how, because Martina usually does the painting. But we'll see, maybe it's gonna be good. Anyway, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do something I know more about, which is the lights. And then we have to paint planks and we have to make like oxidized ventilation system and pipes. So many things in this build. Let's get going, let's paint. Okay, something kind of funny we found out. We have all of these building kits, these annoying plastic parts that we have to build. And if we just cut away the edges, the frame itself kind of look like pipes. So now we have to paint them like rust and they are gonna look like pipes and we're gonna place them all over the build. So we have to make all of these tiny tube lights for the diorama. And I'm gonna use filament lights, as I've said before. To make kind of the enclosure for the light, I am using 3D printing filament tubes. So these come with a 3D printer, you can buy them externally. And I'm just putting the filament inside, which is kind of ironic because it's made for filament, just a different kind of filament. And then it turns like into this very softened filament light. Thought it was a cool trick.
I really thought I was gonna take this shot like 3 days ago, but every time I think we're ready to assemble this, just something else comes up that we either have to fix or some other detail that we think, oh, we need that, we have to add that, and then things take much longer than originally planned. Like, for example, I figured the platform we put everything on was a little too narrow because the buildings were a little too close. So I extended it with something extra here, but then you have to add the concrete again, do the paint job again, try to blend it, and also like adding some graffiti on the walls. That is taking a lot of time, and then finding other details we can add, you know? All the details are taking so much time. But it's also what's gonna really make this diorama, I think. So I finished up the road. I think the asphalt technique worked out really nicely. Hansi finished the domes. Arilla has painted her miniatures, which turned out amazing. You should really check out her Instagram because she paints some awesome stuff. But now it's finally time to start assembling everything. And oh my God, I've been waiting for this for like 10 days or more, because now we can finally start adding all the details in here, like the pipes, the light effects, and the foliage on top that is going to bring everything together and make this look like the lost and ruined city that it is. Let's do this. my god, it is finally finished. And if you've stuck with us all the way till the end, then I applaud you, because I nearly didn't. I mean, this has been the most intricate, most complicated diorama we have ever done. There's just so many details and so many things in here, and it's been super fun to make, but it's also been kind of frustrating, you know, putting all of this together. I'm glad it's done. And also a huge thanks to all of you for watching this video, and of course, a huge thanks to our patrons for continuing to support us. And last but not least, a big thanks to Dying Light 2 for making it possible for us to work on cool projects like these. I mean, it's always so much fun working with brands that, you know, let us create what we want to create. And this has been one of the most fun projects we've been working on. So now, the moment we've all been waiting for, taking a shower. No, I'm kidding. Well, that too. But it's finally time to have a look at the final result. So the other day we received this mysterious letter in the mail, and inside it was this quest. A quest bigger than anything we've ever embarked upon before. We've been asked to make our largest, most badass fantasy diorama to this date. Oh my god. Not just that, but this was requested by my #1 favorite store since I was like 14. It's called Outland, and it's just the most amazing nerd fantasy anime pop culture store ever. And this is going to be displayed in their new store in Oslo. I'm having a little bit of a fangirl moment, and also kind of panicking, because this really has to be the best thing we've ever made. I need it to be. It has to be worthy, okay? Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make this giant landscape. There's a bridge in the middle going over a waterfall connecting 2 islands. On one side is going to be a full RPG team with warriors and wizards, and the other end is going to be a huge, dangerous Hydra. Ah! I can't believe this is happening. Okay, let's do this. I've cut out these giant sheets of plywood to act as the base of the diorama. It turns out it was a little bit warped, so I did it one more time using some MDF. And do you see how big this is? Sentel! What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna start building up the landscape here using some XPS foam, just so we can get those large shapes in first. Let's find the foam. My god, this is taking forever. I have to take a lot of breaks because it's pretty straining for my hand to do this. And also making that stone texture using the pliers is turning out super cool, but it's also taking forever. It's been 4 days and I still have a lot left. Let's get back into it. Excuse me, have you started changing hair color mid-video now?
Yes. Yes, I have.
We've come a pretty far way with carving the landscape so far, but we're gonna need a lot of rock surface for the cliffs and just the landscape in general. Now, in the past I've just used a knife and tried to carve my way to make it look like a rock, but this time I'm gonna try a little bit of a different method. This method is supposed to be one of the easiest, cheapest ways to get really good looking rock surfaces. The idea is just you grab some aluminum foil, fold it over, then you crinkle it into a little ball, but not too tightly. Then you fold it out again, fold in all the sides so you have a little mold, then spray it with some water just to make sure the plaster can run into all the nooks and crannies and not leave any air bubbles. And then you just pour the plaster and you're left with a bunch of rock surface. Now I'm gonna start grabbing all of these rock surfaces and start to puzzle them together here. Let's get back to work. My god, this rock texture is so pretty and so easy to do. It's almost illegal. And as you saw, I ended up using some caulk to attach each of the pieces here and then use the sculptor mold to kind of blend everything together. And next I'm gonna add the bridge that is going to connect these two islands, as well as the plateau for the Hydra. So now I can finally start working on that plateau that the Hydra is gonna stand on top of. So I have laser cut these parts, which is this acrylic plate at the bottom that we're gonna shine some light through. And then we have this really cool geometric pattern with these wooden pieces on top. And I'm gonna try to make the wood look like stone and the light can shine through, make it just look amazing. But the thing is, in order to make all the light effects that we want to really blend in with the landscape, I gotta do it now. Time to deal with the electronics. The kind of LEDs we're gonna use are these individually addressable RGB strips, and that's just because you can basically make these do anything. At least if you have a Hansi to write the code. Thank you so much. Hansi also helped me make this little test setup, just so every time I solder on a new LED here, I can make sure it works before moving on, because it sucks when you have soldered on everything and then you test it and it doesn't work, because then you have to go back and try to find out where's the mistake, how do I fix it. I'm very curious to see how long this is gonna take. Even with the planning and everything, I think this is gonna be pretty time consuming. I'm gonna put the clock in there so you can see. Let's hope it doesn't take a full day. Let's go. I did expect this to take a little while, but not 2 full days. It's 7 p.m. and I started yesterday morning. And look, everything's working. Ta-da! I mean, it's not gonna be disco lights like this when it's done, but the lights works! Oh, it's becoming so nice! Okay, let's bring forth the foam coat and the clay and make this blend nicely together. From masterpiece to disasterpiece. The top and bottom here turned out really nice. There are some bubbles in the surface, but I'm not really concerned about that because first of all, it's water. And secondly, I'm gonna cover most of it with some waves anyway, so it doesn't matter. But over at the cave here, I poured the epoxy and it looked fine and I thought I had taped it well enough. Oh no. So now I have epoxy all over the desk, all over the floor. I think I just have to wait until it fully cures so I can try to kind of like crack it open and remove it from the floor and the desk. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna use some duct tape, a lot of duct tape, and tape over the edge there and try to just pour that little lake again. Now this should be completely freaking tight. So let's do the pour one more time. Got my eyes on you. Okay, I just quickly went ahead and cut out a bunch of these like pointy rocks using a box knife and some styrofoam, and I'm gonna glue them in place here so they kind of look like they're growing out from the ground, and then just use some foam coat to try to make it blend in with the rest of the landscape. And now, before you go ahead and be like, why didn't you put it in place before you painted it? It would have been so much easier. Because I forgot. So now, let's just glue these in place. And use some foam coat to blend it together. We've started to come a pretty long way with the diorama already, but now the fun begins because we're gonna start working on all the little details that is gonna make this whole diorama. So I thought I could take this prefabricated tree and try to paint it to make it look like a cherry blossom tree. But before we get into that, I just wanted to tell you a little more about Outland. So Outland has basically been my favorite store since I was 14. I mean, look how cute I was. They're a store who specializes in anything pop culture, and I just remember so vividly like begging my mom to go there anytime we visit Oslo, and I think she was a little irritated by how many hours I could actually spend in there because it felt like, and it still feels like, just walking into this treasure trove of fantasy and sci-fi literature and manga and all these tabletop games and collectibles and merchandise and all these things that I obsess over. I always have so much fun visiting their stores, and I never go home empty-handed. I mean, that's just an impossible mission. I'm super excited that they've been able to move their flagship store to a practically double the size store in Oslo, so I really encourage you to visit them if you ever travel to Oslo. They also have 8 other stores spread around Norway, as well as a web store that you can check out as well. So if you want to see this gigantic diorama we're making in person, then make sure to visit the store in Oslo because that's where it will be displayed. So I'll put the link to their website as well as the address down in the description if you want to check it out. And back to the project. It's time to paint the tree. So I got my airbrush here, some airbrush colors, mixing cups, and the tree of course. Let's get airbrushing. Look how cute! Oh my god, I love it so much. And also, this could probably be done with other colors too. Like blue or purple. We have no time to lose. We have so many more things to paint. And the next one is the most exciting one. Let's go back in. Can I have a drum roll, please? It's time to reveal the most exciting miniature of this whole diorama. Look at this! This Hydra is so badass and amazing, and I love it. It was actually Hansi who made this, by the way. Thank you, Hansi, again. And we made it by using our resin printer to print it out in multiple parts. Then we had to sand it down a bit just to make it fit together. Used some glue, glued them together, and finally used some primer spray on it just to make the paint stick to it. But now, without further ado, let's get painting. While I've been working on this, I've kind of realized that I'm not gonna be able to paint all the miniatures by myself because it's just so much work. And also, I want the miniatures to be good. So I reached out to Aurelis Miniatures on Instagram and asked her if she would like to, you know, paint some of these. And she has painted these incredible goblins and trolls as well as the main heroes for the diorama. They turn out so awesome and so pretty. And just check her out on Instagram because she's really skilled at what she does. But anyway, I am finished with my Hydra. And I like that the UV resin made it kind of look saliva and nasty-ish in the mouth. So now we can bring this boy downstairs because the resin should be cured. And that means it's water time. We got these waterfall wave things that are now dry, as well as water waves in a bucket. So let's just start grabbing all of these things and try to assemble it on here to make them look like huge waves. I wasn't really happy with how this whole plateau was looking, so I decided to go back, add some more rock, redo the whole paint job, and now I'm happy with it. And that means all the major components are in place, and now we can finally start putting this thing together. Let's go! It's finally finished. The relief